Mr. Miliband began his visit at a business park in Ipswich to learn more about Thorpe Glen, a successful UK ICT company. He also held a roundtable discussion with CEOs of information and communication technologies companies based there. The UK is the global hub for high-tech innovation, and international demand for UK ICT products and foreign investment in these companies is helping to aid economic recovery in the east of England. The Foreign Secretary also visited the Northgate Sports Centre in Ipswich to meet possible British Olympic athletes of the future and see for himself the impact that the 2012 London Olympics will have on the east of England.
I'm here in Ipswich because the Olympics are coming. We're more than halfway from 2005 when we won the Olympics to 2012 when they'll dominate the screens of the world, the TV screens of the world. And the sort of facilities that you see behind me are going to be used by all of the countries of the world in their training, and that's why I think of the Olympics as Britain 2012, not just London 2012. And I want to send a very strong message that Britain's getting ready, and we're going to take that message around the world.
Mr. Miliband also saw an archery exhibition at the school. He was then joined by ex-GB Olympic swimmer Karen Pickering and took time to talk to the athletes in the school gymnasium to explain the expected impact of the 2012 Games.
And I hope that through events like this today we can get the message out into local and national media that the old British disease of knocking ourselves doesn't actually fit very well to the effort that's going on, not just in central government, local government, across parties, across the country, to really make this a great British success story is something that I take a lot of inspiration from.
The Foreign Secretary then moved on to Ipswich Town Hall, where he addressed a public meeting highlighting the objectives of the UK government's Building Britain's Future initiative and how the east of England can emerge from the current economic downturn. He outlined 3 areas for debate.
The first is about how we minimise the scale of the recession, but more important, how we build our way out of it to promote a recovery. Secondly, is about how we understand the current position of our public services, above all in health, education, criminal justice, social service, housing, but how we understand the strengths and weaknesses that we need to address. And thirdly, and I would say this, wouldn't I, but I do think it's important, I think we have a fundamental decision to take as a country about how we understand our place in the world.
Mr. Miliband then travelled to Cardiff as he attended the first meeting of a UK government cabinet in Wales. Before the cabinet meeting, he visited the Welsh National Assembly to hear how organisations in Wales are working in African townships and schools.
Whenever I come to Wales, I do have this very strong sense of deep roots, strong community, but also broad vision, roots and wings as well that allow you to see the far horizons. And as Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs, one of my jobs, I think, is to keep relating back what we're doing abroad to our own situation at home. Not just our material situation, that's important, because we're part of a global economy. If you want to tackle crime or climate change, you have to do that internationally, not just locally. But also relate back our foreign policy to our values as a country. And I think that it's in programs like this that you see some really very, very important values demonstrated. The first and most important is that we've got to be, if we're going to be true to ourselves, we've got to be concerned about people who are much less fortunate than ourselves. And sometimes it does take going into a township to realise quite how fortunate we are. But I think that at the heart of the commitment you've made, at the heart of the commitment of the Welsh Assembly government, and at the heart of the commitment of the British government, there is a commitment, a recognition that unless we do right by people who are less fortunate than ourselves, we're not doing right by ourselves either.
In particular, Mr. Miliband heard how the International Learning Opportunities Scheme is helping to achieve the Millennium Development Goals.